Hey everybody, welcome back to another Java game archive. It's been a while, but we're back with a lost Spongebob Squarepants game. I know that's weird to say, but this is Spongebob Squarepants Bowling. Now what makes this interesting is, of course, this is a J2ME game. You would find this on cell phones, pre-smartphones at the time. Now this is a bowling game which was incredibly popular for mobile phones because it was super simple. You can see here we have a cast of characters to choose from: Sandy, Patrick, Krabs, Squidward, and Gary, and a extra spot over there that's empty. Now I'm going to pick Squidward here. I was going to say SpongeBob, but you'll see here in a second that SpongeBob is actually in the game. He isn't a character in the game, but he is the ball, as you can see, just an image taken from the show. Now this is a standard bowling game. It's a single button game, kind of the easiest you can do. These were a dime a dozen. Lots of different franchises got them. This isn't the only SpongeBob SquarePants bowling game. There are a number of Flash games, most of them official, some unofficial, on the Nick site, and probably some others on later smartphones. It was just an easy concept to do. Now, as usual for these types of games, there is no sound whatsoever other than some alerts when you get a spare or a strike, and kind of a 5-second SpongeBob clip going at the very, very beginning. So what you're hearing now is just probably the SpongeBob theme in MIDI form overlaid, so this is not a completely quiet video. Now the game itself is super simple. One button to play. You have the red line going back and forth. You hit the button to stop it in the direction you want to shoot. You have the power, which I've played this a lot. Actually had it back in the day as well. Always just use full power, never seemed to make much of a difference. This isn't a depth kind of sports game or even bowling game. And then you have spin, which does do something for the ball, depending on what shot you're getting. Here a 7-10 split, which is impossible no matter how you're going to play it. But the game is super simple, super quick, super easy, the kind of thing you would find on mobiles at the time. But again, this was an official release back in 2004. That's a lifetime ago, but to me it doesn't seem like that long ago. But pre-YouTube, pre-smartphone, that whole thing. Now this was developed by Backbone Entertainment and officially published by THQ Wireless. Now Backbone Entertainment is not a small publisher. It isn't a fly-by-night publisher, which you would get in a lot of these kind of mobile games. It no longer exists, but they did do a lot of games going all the way to 2012 with Dance Central 3. They did the Simpsons arcade game release, which was really cool. They did the X-Men arcade release, I believe. They're up on the re-release for Marvel vs. Capcom 2. They've done a lot of stuff. Sonic the Hedgehog 3 release, Shinobi. A lot of classics being brought back that they worked on. So they're no strangers to that. Another popular one they did is Super Puzzle Fighter 2 HD Remix. Lots of that thing. And for those going back, right after this title, they would go on to do Death Jr. on the PSP, which was a pretty cool game for those that remember it. So for the game itself, it's what you can expect from a bowling game. There is some trivia to be had here. The jellyfish logo is blank on the title screen, if you did notice that. That's not supposed to be there. Another official game released, which was on the Nick site, I believe it was SpongeBob Bowling, but it had to do with kind of that BC episode, if I'm not mistaken. So this is what you get. You can play it in 2-player mode. You can play it in tournament, and it's perfect. The idea for the time, because you're going to be on your cell phone. You're not going to be playing any serious games like you would be now. You literally were opening up your cell phone. You might have bought this for $1 or $2 on whatever platform you had at the time, on whatever store you had. It was Verizon had a store, AT&T had a store, you know, the major players like that. And you play this in line at the DMV or waiting for something and move along. So what I wanted to show you here is some other characters. Now you'll notice that there is, the big thing about this is the animation in between your sets and you're throwing the ball. The emulation here, of course, is not perfect. It wouldn't look this bad it'd be a little bit cleaner as you played. But each character had that single animation, and they would go from there. So let's jump and look at some other animations for some other players in this game. So we'll go through the character select screen again. This time I will pick Sandy Cheeks. And if you noticed, aim, power, and spin, each character has a little bit of different traits, so there is a little bit of differentiation in gameplay. The better your aim, the slower your red bar is going to be, so it's easier to tag the robots. Again, the pin here are little robot guys that look like they are tied up. I'm sure that has some reference to the show at the time. I can't remember, it's been forever. And of course, speed, power, the rest. There's little differences between the characters. The only one that really does matter is, of course, is aim. The better you are, it's just going to be better to play with as someone with better aim. So here's Sandy. You can see her animations in between each throw. Let's do the spin right here, and you'll see it. She's got a kind of a little shuffle. It's literally, I think it's just one frame, that foot movement, and then they just kind of lift the model, the JPEG image up and down, or like a GIF back and down. And you have to remember, these games were tiny. Even the tiniest games of today are massive compared to this. We're talking kilobytes probably in size, especially back in 2004. So we have a little bit of Sandy here. Let's go on to someone else. Okay, so we'll come back. Ooh, SpongeBob looks weird in that shot. We'll pick someone else. We'll pick Mr. Krabs, and he has the lowest aim of this group of people. And again, the lower aim, the harder it's going to be. You're probably not going to be quite as precise, and it does look like that red bar does move a little bit faster, making things harder. It's okay. The reason I picked Mr. Krabs because he's my favorite in terms of this game. Now you'll remember that when you saw Squidward, he had at least a little bit of animation. I believe the emulation wasn't doing him any favors, but he had some rotation going on. You saw Sandy's, which was kind of lazy. It was Sandy just kind of shuffling up and down in a single frame. But I think Mr. Krabs is the laziest of the bunch because it is a static screenshot. It looks like a screenshot from the show. It just cut out poorly, mind you. Again, this is a 100 probably by 1 something size screen. You know, you put your thumb probably is the same size as the screen, two of them together. So you weren't meant to see these details blown up like this for YouTube. But he is just a cutout shifting to the right. So there is zero animation here going on. And the SpongeBob ball itself is simply kind of jittering about a little bit. It makes no sense, but it's hilarious to see every single time. And again, if you just notice the pins, when I played this originally before everything got going, if you look at them now, they sort of look like rum bottles from like an old Pirates of the Caribbean sort of thing, like the old rum bottles from back in the day, but they're actually robots. I don't know, that's probably related to the show somehow, but I have no idea. So let's reboot again, and I want to show you one more character. As you can see the intro here, Backbone Entertainment, and it had a full intro screen, you know, these developers and Nick, of course, and all this extra stuff. Man, a lot of just, this is all just trademark and stuff. This has pretty much nothing to do with anything else, and it does have to load. You'll notice the jellyfish up there is empty. It's just a green ball. SpongeBob just hold the ball. He's not in this game. I'm assuming that ball is probably trying to mimic a jellyfish, but since he's not in this game, I don't know why they couldn't have just made that a ball, but he's throwing himself. If you think a lot, you're gonna hurt yourself. So Gary has the best aim. We'll pick Gary because he is a integral part, of course, of the SpongeBob universe, but a weird choice for a bowling game that requires throwing, and you'll see his animation right here. His is actually the favorite. His actually would be considered animation. It looks like they cut part of, I've seen that motion before of him using his eyes, and they just put the ball on top of it to make it look like it's something. But it's fun to me. I still think it's funny. And he is the best player on this game. But again, a weird choice. You could have had so many other characters that actually have hands to throw, or fins, or flippers, or whatever you're going to use. Plankton would have been one that could have been easily implemented, and it would have been funny to see him push it. But we're not talking about, we're not talking about depth. It's just you're throwing SpongeBob around as a ball. So that's pretty much it in terms of this one. It's just one that I remember from way back when that I actually had, and it's just a game that, is nice to archive, because I know there's a lot of SpongeBob content creators and SpongeBob fans. They're always doing countdowns of games and going through all the SpongeBob console games and everything, and even mobile games, and this one often gets left out because of just that being a J2ME game, when we thought J2ME and Java was going to be the future of gaming before the iPhone came around and said, you know what, we're just going to make normal games eventually. And here we are today. Funny enough, I literally reviewed for the website SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated on mobile. So we've come a long, long way from tossing a SpongeBob head with no animation at some pins. And I do believe it does look like at least the ball rolling mechanic of SpongeBob is in 3D, but it doesn't make sense to the ball because it's a full body and this is just a head. My brain would start melting if I start thinking too much. I can only imagine the programmers on this game. So that's it for today for the Java Game Archive. Thank you for watching. This is going to now become a regular series. We're back in a new place. We're ready to make content, and we hope to archive a lot more of the games. If you have a game that you remember playing, whether it's a licensed game, whether it's an original IP, let us know in the comments. We'll do our best to track that down and hopefully make a video of that in the future. If you like this content, best way to support this show and this channel is to simply like, comment, and subscribe, and let us know what you think. And until next time, we'll catch you guys later, and we'll leave you with a little more SpongeBob bowling.